how does that tie into well-being itself, reflection, and really understanding oneself?
Well, Santiago was mentioning Socrates. When he was appointed as the wisest man in the world by Delphos, I don't know how it's in English, or it's in the Parnaso mountain close to Athens. He was aware that he didn't know much. So this attitude of, understanding that we know very little, but that openness to learn, that humility is so necessary nowadays. Sometimes we think that because we know some things, there's not more to learn. That's the first thing. And the other element, which is very important, at least in our center, is very important, is contemplation. Contemplation goes beyond reflection. Contemplation, it's something much deeper. I remember I had a very profound experience in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with a team of Howard Gardner and David Perkins. They were the people who developed the theories of multiple intelligences. So we were taken to a museum which belongs to Harvard, and we were looking at the paintings, very interesting paintings, and then David Perkins told us, choose just one painting, but choose well. So why, David? Because you will spend close to 4 hours in front of the painting. When somebody tells you that you're going to spend 4 hours in front of a painting, you look for the right painting. You don't make that mistake in that, So I found an amazing painting of the Rocky Mountains. So I chose that. We had a chair, and we had to sit with the commitment only to stand up and go to the toilet. So the first hour was, it's a nice painting. It's a nice painting. The second hour, I was, oh my God, I had too much of this painting. The third hour, something started to change. I've never, ever experienced something so profound. The painting started to speak to me. It was it's so difficult to find the right words. The 4 hours, the painting and myself were just one. So when the time ended, we went together with David. There were people crying. This is contemplation. And when you stop, this rumination, this noise, permanent noise, and you can remain still in quietness, observing somebody, observing nature, something within you starts to resonate. And the kind of insights that you can have are really so profound that it can change your whole life. So I value thinking. Reflection is key. Philosophy, I really love philosophy. And philosophy is key because it allows us to use our mind to think deep enough. But then there's another step further. And in my experience, only through silence, you get rid of judgment. You get rid of blaming people. You get rid of, criticism. Just remain quiet, something opens up. So something opens up. At the beginning, because these kind of traditions belong to people who were connected to religion, and that's very understandable, people were very, but now we have seen in the medical field, how powerful is silence. When you stay still, just 5 minutes each day, and you allow something to emerge, you feel such a level of gratitude because you start to perceive things under a different light. So it's not whether silence or reflection, is both of them. Both of them are necessary. Philosophy and metaphysics. Philosophy, to use our thinking to go deep enough. And then metaphysics, we go beyond our senses. We enter within this kind of vacuum, which is apparently just empty, but it has all kind of shapes. So it's very beautiful, and we give a lot of value in the center to the practice of silence. And also for people who, of course, are not very interested in, and that's very understandable, in going any deeper, the fascinating thing is what the medical research have shown with the practice of silence. We have a brain network which is called the default network. The default network is the distraction network, and it's said that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. The fascinating thing is that when you start to practice silence, you change the kind of network that is active in the brain. So you shift from the default network into the task-oriented network. The interesting thing about this change is that you start to manage data much better. You start to be more creative. You start to pay more attention to things. You make better decisions. You take better actions. And also your immune system starts to work better. So it's interesting to see how everything is connected. And this is probably the reason why when we go to nature, at the moment that we stop, with this kind of rumination, we start to look at the trees or look at, the grass or anything. Something moves within us. It's the wisdom of the heart. And I think that for all of us, this is something very important. It's like the value of poetry. Why poetry? Why poetry can touch you so deeply? If it's just language, it's a special kind of language. So.
And it's actually, if I may add, to very beautiful comments that you just made, Mario, I recall the visit of a group of architects. We were looking here at our university years ago for another campus inside Madrid, and there was an opportunity before, we identified the eye tower. It was the Centro de Puerta de Toledo. I wonder, probably some of you are familiar. It's actually in the old quarter of Madrid. And then we brought a team from the office of Renzo Piano architects, who are the renowned, Paris-based architects, probably the best among the top in the world. And then we went to the place, and probably some of you have family members who are architects or designers, and you realize that they look at things in a different way. I mean, we spent there at the square, which is not the most beautiful place in Madrid. So we spent there probably 2 hours just looking at every angle. I mean, I haven't actually spent that much time, as you were describing, in front of something, because executives, we are probably more accustomed to take decisions, in a quick fashion, very quickly. So looking at the way they were identifying every building, the shadows, the place of each construction, you realize that if you apply that same method to many other things in life, dilemmas, including financial issues, probably financial analysts would become, much better decision makers if they put in place these same observation skills that architects have. So what I, again, using your analogy, Mario, would suggest is that you explore these observation skills, that you talk with your fellow students in architecture and design, and you go and attend exhibitions together or visit buildings in order to realize, how you could actually analyze things from a different angle and perspective. And you can actually learn for your practical life very good skills.